Hi, everybody. So, I've been a little spooky ooky lately. What with our star ancestors returning into these bodies, right? A lot of people waking up to their true potential, their true life. But I don't want to be spooky pooky today. I want to be fun. I want to enjoy this experience because it absolutely is enjoyable. The arrival of all of it is strange and scary and weird, but it's when you get into it, nothing to fear. The reason why there's so much fear associated with it is not in relation to you as an individual, not even your ego as an individual. Your ego deep down knows, your false ego knows deep down that there is a rarefied version of it that is in constant communion with the divine self. And that ego actually desires that. But it's been so conditioned and so trained by the social mind that that's difficult for the little ego to truly understand. But here we are at essentially like the end of time, right? There's nowhere else for us to go. We can't keep going forward. This story has already concluded. And so we're just walking into nothing. And what it's being filled with is a lot of destruction, a lot of horror, a lot of difficulty. We have taken a wrong turn somewhere, and we have ended up at a dead end. And we don't know how to get out. What we need to do, well, what has worked for me, is first recognizing this, accepting it, and turning around. Right? What do you do when you hit a dead end? You go back the way you came. But that way is is long. I mean, there's only one day. But there is so much value in moving backwards consciously. Then when you approach a lot of the same patterns you saw before, you're more able to meet them from a place of love and compassion and to be able to heal those wounds as they appear. That's a big part of the reason why a lot of us are coming to these realizations in the first place is because we have hit that dead end and we have been moving backwards, whether we know it or not. We're retracing our steps and we retrace them 5 steps back. We notice things are similar and we try to take that 5 steps forward again and we hit the same dead end. So a lot of us are just walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you think about it, if you really start to recognize this, you'll see that we've been moving backwards for quite some time. There's something called the social mind. The social mind is essentially like this entity that sees itself as one thing, and it has all these rules that it's made for itself, and it makes people experience themselves as individuals very differently, depending on the situation. The social mind, even though it pretends in some places to really love individuality, like that's a big part of it, the social mind does not care for true individuality. And rather not individuality, but individuation. The social mind, yeah, it likes individuality as this like force. But when someone starts to put their story together, the social mind doesn't like that because it's not the one telling the story. It wants stories based on its rules. And a lot of times the stories we tell ourselves when we're really tapped into our being are not the stories that have been told time and time again. And when someone does start to individuate, the social mind starts to chase them. On the one hand, the social mind wants to stop them, and it'll put the most subtle and most obvious obstacles in the way over and over and over again. And when it realizes that those obstacles don't do anything to stop the person, then the social mind will try to catch the person. And I feel like I've been running, And recently, I've caught up with myself and have recognized that, the only way forward now is back. And so I've started heading back. Got to get out of this pit somehow. People who can recognize this, because tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's the day that we re-land, right? When we come back, at least part of us does. When we come back to this earth, and we're going to have to start walking back. And some people who recognize this have, in a way, become living clues, right? I'm more here than I've ever been in a very long time, because I was chasing myself right along with the social mind to try to catch up to my own being. Well, I caught up, and I caught myself a little bit earlier, right? Because I was like, oh, here I am, because I was moving backwards. And here I am in my body, moving back. And the social mind, I've recognized, is finally starting to understand what that means. And it's looking for some sort of understanding on how to get out of the situation it's brought itself to. I talked in my last video, or the one before it, about clues. Well, like I said, some people you'll notice are living clues. Some people suddenly have all the answers and all the understanding, and there are especially these people who the social mind thought was pushovers before. The people that the social mind made to feel crazy, who the social mind brought down and made to was telling these people that they're like evil and bad, and their ways of going about life didn't conform. And that was wrong. And that's wrong according to the social mind. Well, after tomorrow, we'll get a wave, the seeds will be planted, and people will start looking for those clues. So I want to give you a few clues. These are clues that I've learned along my travels. I'm sure everyone has their own sets of clues that will help them, but there has to be a reason why some of these clues seem universal, especially amongst people who I've talked to who've been through similar experiences. So the first clue, and maybe the most important, is this idea of having a single point of focus. This can be on a basic sensory level. When you are listening to someone or something, and you keep your eyes focused on one spot, you'll realize that light that's normally coming into the eyes now starts to come into the ears, and you can start to hear better. When your eyes aren't moving all over the place, you instantly become more focused, and you can hear what is being said to you. But more than that, more than just focusing in the moment, is keeping a focus on the direction that you're headed. Whether that's understood as backwards or forward, right? Everything in front of us becomes forward. The thing is, if you know that you're headed back, then you can already expect what's to come and how you can approach these situations, even if they're with different people, differently, in a way that's healing, in a way that maybe at a time would have been considered transgressive, but is now understood to be actually healing. You need to keep a single point on that direction if you want to get it out of here more easily. And who you are in that direction you're headed. And you don't want to let go of that. You want to hold on to where you came from and follow that like a guiding light. In ways, you can follow these clues, these people clues, but it's ultimately something you have to hold on to on your own. The place where this is held onto as well is unique because it is right in the middle. As the universe comes apart around us, the threads are all coming apart. The gaps are reappearing, right? Science filled in the gaps in so many ways, but by filling in all those gaps, it put too much together, right? It spread everything apart because that's the stories we were telling, but it also made like too many bridges and it was not sustainable. So now the gaps are reappearing, but we need to place our meaning in those gaps. We need to be the gods of the gaps in our life. You can find these gaps just like you could find a single point to focus on. You can find these gaps in natural basic functions, in between the breath, the in and out, in the center of the body. When you breathe in and out, it's not just the breath going in and out. Actually, there comes a point when the breath stops. But even when the breath stops, it's potential to still move that prana up and down yourself. You can keep that in the center too. In more silly and fun ways, when you're having difficulty and it feels like the social mind is out to get you and you have doubts and fears, go stand in the middle. Go stand in a doorway to have your thoughts. Go stand in the middle of a not busy street. Go find some in-between place. We've been in the in-between this whole time, right? We've been in the bardo our whole lives, this in-between place. But, and headed backwards, we'll still be in an in-between place. It's just now we know where we're going. When you reflect this great truth, this great difficult to explain truth through simple actions, it gives you a safe space. Every in-between place is a safe space as we continue to move forward backwards. Another thing I don't fully understand, but maybe somewhat, maybe I just can't explain, are the sides. There's a right side and there's a wrong side. I don't know if everyone's right side is their right side and everyone's left side is their wrong side, but that's how it is for me. When I'm feeling experiences coming in, especially to the ears on my right side, I can hear the truth in them. When I hear those same things coming in on the left side, if I am unaware what side it's coming in on, then I won't recognize the lies behind it. The danger of starting to look for clues, and the unfortunate nature that we kind of have to, is that sometimes there's so many clues and a lot of them are falsehoods. So it's useful to have some sort of technique to be able to recognize when something is coming in on your right side or your wrong side. Then you can see the lies for what they are, the deception, and you can adjust yourself accordingly. These deceptions aren't a scary or bad thing. And that's a big problem, right? We'll experience it, we'll be like, oh no, this is like bad info. And we'll get like maybe a sort of anger or sort of like a need to fight back. You don't need to do that. It's a lesson. It's the same voice giving you the right and the wrong answers, the right and the wrong clues. Understanding that, you can meet all the voices with love because they're all trying to guide you on your way back home. Next clue, clue number 4, are lights. There are natural lights, right? And lights that seem natural, like the sun, the stars, and fire. And those lights have a deep spiritual significance to them in a way that is different than the starlight captured in bulbs. But the starlight captured in bulbs is a product of the social mind, a pretty fantastic one, despite the stars being trapped in them. And it has a lot to teach us too, especially when it comes to colors. You'll notice blue lights, red lights, green lights. These are often associated with ancient tales. One of my favorite being the Blue Star Prophecy, the Hopi Blue Star Prophecy. Legitimacy aside, it still has a lot of value for this time. What I can tell you from what I've recognized, blue stars, blue light is a good sign, a compassionate and divine signal. Red lights imply a sense of be wary, stop, but aren't a bad thing either. If anything, these negative aspects teach you to be prepared to meet the situation with extra love. And then green lights are usually a go ahead, right? The green lights, I had a little bit of trouble recognizing until the green fireballs, right? One here in Oregon and multiple in Ohio, showed me that these green lights are a representation of the new consciousness, the new old consciousness that is resettling into these bodies. And colors aren't just applicable to the lights, but to what you're wearing. You'll notice more and more that when you're wearing red, a fierce nature is going to come over you. Not necessarily like a mad or angry kind of thing, but nonetheless fierce. Metaphors and symbology have always had massive importance, but it is all going to have so much more importance in the time to come. Another thing that has been a clue for me, and I don't even fully understand how to execute it, I just know it when I see it, is the rule of threes. There'll often be threes on threes on threes. You'll find a clue, and that will lead you to a 3 and a 3, right? And maybe another one. But usually the last one is the putting together the pieces. When you are seeing clues, use that rule to limit your options, right? Because if you have 20 clues, you're going to be so lost. But if you could narrow those down to one clue, and it'll be obvious when you see it, amazing things will happen. Stuff, right out of, I don't even know, like, I guess like movies and stuff, but like, it's so much more incredible than any movie I've ever seen. Even though we're headed back and especially after tomorrow, already even the social mind is starting to work with us. It recognizes that its tricks aren't working as well, and that there's people who are able to say these things and express them in ways that are, valuable. It will still try to put its grips around us. It often does this by making us believe its narratives. You'll feel tired. Oh, my body is so tired, you'll say. Or you'll just oh, I guess I'm not having enough water, and now I'm exhausted, right? And you'll find yourself often getting sleepy. Again, sleep is fine. Sleep is wonderful. Rest is great, rather. We're already dreaming. When you find this unnatural tiredness suddenly coming over you, be aware that sleep is coming. And in that sleep is often forgetfulness. You wake up and, who are you? What was it that was going on just previously? One of the best tools I've seen help not just me, but others, is to be able to be aware of that. And for many people, that could be all they need. But to also do one thing. When you see that, recognize that your single point is being dissipated by the heaviness of the world, you'll tell yourself, or something like that. Do one thing for yourself. Do one thing to remind you of your eternal nature. Journal. Meditate. This isn't necessarily about feeding the body. This isn't necessarily about exercise. This is about something eternal. Do something for your eternal self. And you would be amazed at how often you suddenly aren't tired anymore. How strange, right? There's going to be a lot of people. I've experienced this my whole life. This was the main way the social mind interacted with me in being a person who's always been outspoken and opinionated, I guess. Is that the more you speak your truth, the more you hold on to the single point that is you, the more the social mind will send naysayers your way. People to put you down and instill doubt. Don't listen to them. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're family or long life friends. That's not even them talking. Don't listen to them. Ignore the naysayers. Just walk away. Keep going in the direction you're already headed. And on the reverse side of that, don't complain. The moment you start complaining about the circumstances in the world around you is the moment the social mind has totally got its grip on you. The moment that it has made you turn your back on everything you're learning, right? As you start to get the single point, you don't care about all these little ideas that are the world is like this, the world is like that. No, you're focused on your own life, and that becomes all that matters. But if you find yourself complaining, it's snuck in there somehow. It's subtle. It works in tandem with the mind. But luckily, our minds are being opened. So it's going to be a little bit harder for the social mind to do that. But you will still find yourself complaining. Catch yourself. Stop it. Be grateful. This universe, our lives are a expression of divinity. And if we start to complain, then it's one of my favorite ways of hearing it. It's like spitting in the face of God. Another clue has to do with the fact that this is a dream. And that realization is likely becoming apparent to a lot of people. The ways in which we create this space on our own, the ways in which we're active participants in the universe. realizing this is a dream, that point you want to hold on to can also be expressed as becoming the dreamer. We all are. We all have the potential to be the dreamer who's not being swayed this way and that by some greater force. Be the dreamer in this dream. And if you can do that, then the world will open itself up to you. And the social mind will even become your friend. A clue that's unique has to do with time and past lives and the recognition that new discoveries of the ancient past are actually just new discoveries. And those new discoveries are hints to who we were, right? Because they're in the past. But when you see this greater timescale of nature, you can understand that your past lives, when you can see and know and understand this person who lived 1,000 years ago or whatever, that past life is actually the future self you are walking towards at this moment. That past life is the person you will one day be. And when someone from the past calls out to you like that, hold that person as part of what you're holding on to, right? This being that we are is multifaceted. And we can learn more about ourselves when we're standing on the outside. And when we have another personality to stand on the outside, that makes it even easier. So look to the past to see the future. I mean, we're headed that way anyway. Tomorrow, we land, right? But some of us have already landed. Do not be afraid. When you're afraid, then things will be scary. I mean, I kind of like the scary a little bit, so I understand if you want to be a little scared. Listen to those voices who are here to help you. And enjoy all of it. Sending my love.